Hello everyone, I am thirteene, and today we're going to be playing another sort of homebrew. This is built on Death and White taxes, but a lot of our success tonight is actually going to be on the strength of our opponents not understanding what Sundial the Infinite does. So what this deck is doing is mono white things that exile temporarily and then trying to make them permanent. The first card that we need to bring up here is going to be Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp is fairly common in Modern. It's a 3/1 when it enters the battlefield. Exile another target permanent. Return into the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Then we have Eldrazi Displacer, where you can pay 2 and a colorless to exile another target creature and return it to the battlefield tapped. And then we have Sundial of the Infinite. So this is actually going to be one of the more funsy cards of the deck, but this is what actually is building the concept. So it costs 2 mana, then you can pay 1 and tap it to end the turn. So you can only do that on your turn, but it's actually a pretty powerful effect. So 2 of the cards that we're going to be talking about today are going to be Stifle and Counterspell. So Counterspell is pretty generic. There's a lot of different variants of it, but generic just counter target spell. So we're going to use this when our opponent tries to tap out on our end step to cast a spell. We'll just end the turn. This is going to be our counterspell counter. How many times do we counter a spell Sundial of the Infinite? And then the next is going to be Stifle. So Stifle is a card in Legacy. There's recently been a reprinting of it. It's the Simic 2 mana split card, but this can counter target activated or triggered ability. If we take another look at one of the cards in our deck, an activated ability is anything with a colon in it. A triggered ability says if, when. Basically, when something happens, a triggered ability goes onto the stack. One of the cards I do want to talk about is actually Mangara of Karandor here. So this card, I didn't even realize it was Modern legal. Another reason we're playing this deck. This has been a one of in Legacy every once in a while, because you can exile Moronga and target permanent. This can be a land, this can be a planeswalker, a creature. But the important thing to note here is exiling Mangara is actually on the right side of the colon. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to tap Mangara, put the ability onto the stack, flicker, I believe that's a her, and after we flicker her, she becomes a new object, so we actually still keep the Mangara, but we permanently exile her target. But yeah, that's going to be the base concept here. Flicker Wisp, Eldrazi Displacer, reusable. Sundial's going to be just powerful if our opponents don't quite understand what's going on, or if we can time it correctly. This eventually becomes 4 mana, exile target permanent, but we have to do it correctly. Then to help kind of enable this strategy, we have a lot of the Death and Taxes shell. So we have Path to Exile, Ghost Quarter, try to take away lands, players can't search libraries, basically try to mana screw our opponent or whatever we need to. Just get some incremental value there. Then running a couple of the stock taxes cards, Aether Vial, Thalia, Restoration Angel. Yeah, just some powerful cards there. Aether Vial is going to allow us to cheat our mana a little bit, given the fact that we have multiple activated abilities. That's going to help a lot. Thalia is going to tax our opponents. We don't have a lot of non-creatures in our decks. And then Restoration Angel is another flicker effect, a way to go infinite. And that is the deck. Well, we got our first match, so let's go ahead and move over. So on the bottom right-hand side, the card on the left is Stifle. The card on the right is Counterspell. We're going to try to keep track of that as the league goes on. A lot of our opponents are either going to forget that we have Sundial out or just not understand how it works, and hopefully we're going to get some free spells off of that, while also having it be synergistic to our game plan. Alright, let's line this up. Yeah, Rocky's been a little loud tonight. He's usually pretty loud, but he's been really loud tonight. Alright, so we have a turn 2 Thalia. I think we can do better than that. Always happy to see Aether Vial. That's still turn 2 Thalia. Eldrazi Temple, despite not having Thought Knot Seers, is actually really good for activating our Displacer. I don't necessarily think we need the 3rd mana here, but we are planning on cracking a clue in the near future, so I'll go ahead and hang on to it. Alright, so I'm basically assuming Scalding Tarn at this point is the Phoenix deck. Could still potentially be Fetchel Storm. Grixis Death Shadow would have taken a shock. Thalia is a pretty good card against Phoenix, though. Assuming they're not ready to go off already. That basically confirms Phoenix. Ooh, Kiln Fiend. That's fun. So, Kiln Fiend is a 1/2 whenever they cast an instant or sorcery. It gets +1/+2, or +3/+0 until end of turn. If they end up doing something similar to the Phoenix deck where they cast 3 spells, it ends up being a 10/2. I actually should have led on Aether Vial last turn. I was too busy trying to explain things. Well, here we basically just want to be on Thalia anyway. They're clearly going to try to multi-spell next turn, and Thalia is going to help stop that. But if Kiln Fiend attacks in, we're essentially chump blocking it. I'm expecting Thalia to eat a bolt here. This Kiln Fiend deck hasn't been around for a while. A couple of the more recent printings have... Alright, so I'm expecting them to give this first strike. I'm going to chump block because... No, they can only cast 1 spell. I'm okay to take 4 here. I'm expecting Bolt on Thalia now, and then we take 4. An Opt. Alright. Was not actually expecting that. Alright, well, this is where we wish we would have played Aether Vial a while ago, but this is where we're at now. They're really making me think they don't have anything for Thalia, but we will have to actually block next turn. So keeping both creatures back, we will win the long game here. They try to take 1 explosive turn, and basically if we're holding up Restoration Angel and have Thalia out, it's going to be very hard for them to do that. I'd love to see another white source. Yep, there's the Bolt on the Thalia, then Thraben Inspector is going to be chump blocking. I really don't think they'd have another Bolt, otherwise we would have used it in the previous turn. It is possible, and then that would put us on the table for 7 damage. This little guy gets pretty big pretty quick. Thing in the Ice. Interesting. These two are kind of different strategies, but Thing in the Ice is a very powerful card, so I get it. They have 3 cards in hand. They'll go up to 4. If they cast 4 spells, we're going to be taking 7 from Thing in the Ice. I think I'm going to start off with Cracking the Clue here, just because getting another land's the highest upside. Yep, there it is. And then it's on opponent to kill Thalia again. Unfortunately, not another white source yet. We actually might be looking at Ghost Quartering our Eldrazi Temple. If we get this vial up to 3, it's going to be very hard for our opponents to start coming back. They're going to have multiple bolts in order to make that happen. Yep, so they're likely looking for another bolt. And this is looking a lot like the Phoenix list, like this is a budget Phoenix. This also might be taking the place of either Delver or Monastery Swiftspear. I know that the Phoenix lists have been trying to figure out exactly what they want to run as their third creature. Alright, well, I'm going to see if they have First Strike. The old Kiln Fiend list used to run Apostle's Blessing, so they could potentially give pro-white here. Mutagenic Growth, alright. Well, I'm kind of just glad I'm not taking the 9 damage here, so I'm alright with that exchange. Taking the Aether Vial up. Interesting. Ghost Quarter actually becomes a strip mine here. I actually think I'm going to be running out Resto with Leonin Arbiter off the Vial as a flash blocker, see if they want to invest in Thing in the Ice or Kiln Fiend. Looks like they might be going for Thing in the Ice. There's another Thing in the Ice. And there's the flip spell. Alright, so that's going to return Kiln Fiend to hand, and then we're going to get a free block here. They even replayed that pre-combat. That works fantastically for us. Alright, so gonna flash in Leonin Arbiter here. We'll go ahead and go to blocks, assign block there, and then Restoration Angel is gonna make it so that we can flicker the Leonin Arbiter and keep it. Just fog the combat step. Oh, and we even get a start hard casting things. Alright, so I'm going to take away a red source here just in case they have any double red or try to chain into multiple red spells. And I think I'm just wanting to Flicker Wisp the Awoken Horror, which means Moranga is coming down. Mangara, I mean. Moranga? Where did that come from? So again, the important thing here is the fact that the exile is actually on the right-hand side. I could actually permanently exile the Awoken Horror next turn. And I'm actually feeling a little inclined to do that. Yeah, that actually might just be the best choice. So I can Flicker Wisp and reset this into a Thing in the Ice with 4 counters on it. Or I can use permanent removal here. We'll see if they try to flip this Thing in the Ice. If they do, we might just be on Flicker Wisp and make sure that we don't take damage this turn. Well, they can definitely do it. Alright, sorry, that's not going to work out fantastically for you. So, resolving the bounce to hand, I'm perfectly okay with everything here surviving. I think my Flicker Wisp is definitely on chump block duty here. Opponent's committing in pretty hard. So with the Kiln Fiend Teamer Battle Rage would have actually been, wow, 22 damage this turn. The strategy still wouldn't have worked, but it does show the power of Kiln Fiend. So we're just going to hard counter this Battle Rage. Put it in Flicker Wisp. Flicker the one that's about to get Double Strike. Flicker Wisp is a very good clock. I actually might just take the 7 here. I still haven't decided. 7 damage could be pretty bad. Battle Rage could actually just kill us out of nowhere, having Double Strike Trample. But we have a couple of answers, and Mangara is going to be a really good catch-all. Yep, so that goes away. Battle Rage fizzles. And yeah, I'm just going to take the 7. Would not like to go up to 4. Oh, I really should have. Oh, that's fine. So Flicker Wisp can get in here, and then thanks to Restoration Angel, we could actually Flicker the Awoken Horror again. I don't really think that's the right call, but it does give us the ability. Again, putting in Mangara and activating her and then Flicker Wisping her is probably going to be our best out here. Yeah, Rocky, you're good. We'll die to Bolt with this Slime, though. Alright, fine, we'll Resto. I'd love to see a Displacer at this point. Displacer would be getting 2 activations off a turn. Also make sure that Thing in the Ice and Kiln Fiend don't really do anything. Opponents only used 1 bolt so far, so we are technically dead to seeing the rest of the 3 bolts. I'd actually love it if they flickered all of our creatures, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Yep, so we don't even get to abuse her, but we do get to do 1 bad permanent with it. So they're on a turn 2 clock in the air. I think I'm just going to represent that and force them to flip these things in the ice with 1 card. And Leonin Arbiter will be a really good blocker. I apologize again. Rocky has been going a little crazy tonight. Opponent's trying to figure out what their outs are here. I'm wondering if they actually have something in hand. Because if they just bounce our creatures, Flicker Wisp and Restoration Angel can reset both the Thing and the Ices again, so we're in a really good position here. And then I do want to get out this Leonin Arbiter. Really just puts it on our opponent that they have to have like 3 cards in order to be able to do anything. And it looks like they're going to start going for it. They have to. We're still going to end the turn with a Flicker Wisp and a Restoration Angel in play and potentially reset Thing in the Ices. Their best line here is probably to use Thing in the Ice to flip during our turn, as opposed to theirs. They can't be the aggressor here. We're too far ahead. Funny enough, I actually think they need to have Stifle. Yep. Opponent saw the writing on the wall. So, multi-spelling. Aethersworn Canonist is our Storm 8. Each player who's cast a non-artifact spell can't cast non-artifacts. So, that's coming in. They really want to invest in a single creature. Core Firewalker is pro-red and gains life whenever a player casts a red spell. Being able to block Kiln Fiend seems pretty good. I don't believe Rest in Peace is their correct call. I'm still actually not sure they're not a Phoenix deck. The old Kiln Fiend lists were basically burn lists that also had Mutagenic Growth and Apostle's Blessing to try to invest into their one creature better. As far as cuts, Mangar's a little slow. We did see some of the pain there in trying to get her out. I still think Sundial's pretty good, although I think we might be on shave a couple of these, seeing as they're trying to cast multiple spells during their turn. The Unknown Orbiter doesn't seem great. They look like they're pretty... They had I think we saw 2 Tarns, but this does stop our Ghost Quarter and pass, so it probably just needs to stay in. I could see maybe cutting just a Resto and... maybe a Mangara. See how that looks. So Eldrazi Displacer being able to flicker their creatures seems very good here, because they just invest all in on a Kiln Fiend, and the Displacer's actually devoid, so Apostle's Blessing wouldn't be able to give protection from artifacts or colors, because it's actually just colorless. That seems like a huge up. Resto Angel seems like a pretty decent way to protect a creature, but it's just expensive. We even missed sequence last game and put Aether Vial out on turn 3 over a Thalia. Well, we'll see what opponent's got. Opponent is 5 minutes behind on clock, 1 game in. They are playing a little bit on the slow side. Alright, so we have a turn 1 Aether Vial, turn 2 Thalia, we have a Path and a Displacer. That's like everything I want to see. This could actually even be just a turn 2 Displacer, although I'd rather Thalia eat the Lightning Bolt. Opponent goes to 5 and puts a card on bottom. Alright. So we do have some unique one-of lands here. Flagstones of Trocare, I think that's how you say it, is one of them. If this were to be put into a graveyard from anywhere, you can search for planes and put it into the battlefield tapped. This will allow us to Ghost Quarter ourselves and actually net mana. There could potentially be 4 in the list, but we're already a little weak to Blood Moon because we're running 4 Ghost Quarters, a Gemstones, the Eldrazi Temples. Like, I'd prefer just to have 1. It also doubles as a pretty good just planes there. Alright, so I'm actually thinking Path is going to be good here. And we even drew another one. Let's see, so Apostle's Blessing would cost 1. I think I'm just going to force the path and see how hard they're willing to protect it, because we're going to make sure that they can't do anything with the Kiln Fiend here. Plus they mulligan so low, this is probably their only threat, so it's pretty high priority to get rid of it. We're also very close to doing things with our hand, so all the fun things are coming. Manamorphose, so they're going to go digging. I'm not going to burn another path here. They are trying to figure out how to protect it, which means this is likely resolving. Plus, we always have a backup. Yep, their 7-2 is gone. Meanwhile, we're going to have a Thalia. I'm actually kind of happy to see this vial. I didn't think I was going to be running out Displacer here, and this means that we're going to be able to start cheating on our mana pretty hard. Running out Thalia before they can start taking advantage of the fact that their spells are one cheaper. They could potentially start cantripping into another threat, so Thalia is just going to put some pressure there. Also, check the removal because Displacer is going to come down next turn. I really wanted to get Displacer in off the vial so that we could actually start protecting if we need to with our open mana. Yep, there's the Lightning Bolt. And then I'm just going to get rid of their threat now. It's probably correct again to do it on their upkeep, but I don't care. I'm half expecting to get a Shame Scoop out of them here pretty soon because their hand isn't doing anything. So Displacer actually does say another target creature. It won't be able to protect itself, but if they... I can't imagine they have a lot going on with 3 cards. I'd love to start seeing some Thraben Inspectors or potentially the Sundial and a Flicker Wisp. Our combo is actually 3 cards. We need to have a Displacer for repeatable, we need to have a Flicker Wisp for something that has a triggered return, and we need to have a Sundial in order to end the turn in order to start permanently exiling permanents. Really having a hard time figuring out what our opponent could be tanking on here. That was weird, my button wasn't working. Displacer does unfortunately die to a bolt. But our deck has a lot of spells that enable their threats, and they don't have a lot of threats at the moment, and we have a lot of answers for threats. I don't like thinning their deck. The mana denial plan's probably not going to work fantastically here. We'd also need like 2 pieces, and even in order to start using mana denial. But our opponent's been down 3 threats of probably 8, and we still have another answer in hand. So I am actually getting the read the opponent is on the bolt. They've left up red mana for quite a while. It might be because they've just been tanking this turn for 3 minutes. But they've been leaving up red mana, and they would be cantripping here if they had another one. They clearly were looking for a threat, so Guess they don't have it, but they were definitely acting like they did. I'd love my Vials to be on 3 and 4. Okay, they just concede. Fair enough. That last card was probably another land. They were hitting all their land drops. Game 2 did mulligan to 5, so we had that going for us, but alright, this hand does nothing exciting, but it does have a lot of pieces that we want. So I'm good to keep it. Opponent's got OG Squee. I loved his flavor text when he came back. Yeah, be pretty smart to live as long as me, but not being able to die helps. Yep, Squee. Yep. Alright, so Blackcleave Cliffs, Inquisition. We could potentially be looking at Mardu Pyromancer. We could be looking at Jund. Hollow One, I believe, has discard in the side. Yeah, opponent didn't like the Leonin Arbiter. So, probably on the fetch land plan, I believe Mardu Pyromancer runs the most out of all of those options there. And I'm definitely cracking this clue here. I purposefully didn't show the opponent the planes. We could potentially be drawing into that. But the clues here is that if they have another discard spell, we'll draw after they have already cast it. It's fringe, but it is something to keep in mind. Sundial is also very bad against Kolaghan's command. Flicker Wisp is very bad to Lingering Souls. Alright, so it's looking more like Jund. Jund's not nearly as bad as Pyromancer would have been. And Mangara is a welcome sight. We'll see if they actually have removal for it. Or they understand what it means. Thraben Inspector likely not chump blocking here. Goyf can very easily get up to a 5-6 or a 6-7, so there's no reason to prevent 3 damage. Lily Last Hope would be very sad. Liliana Devel is perfectly acceptable. Oh, bah humbug. Why do you hate fun, opponent? Yeah, we take our beats. And we just keep drawing lands. Alright, so opponent doesn't know about these two. Flicker Wisp is going to get his beats in. Or, sorry, Thraben Inspector is going to get his beats in. And then I'm inclined to Flicker Wisp here. I kind of just want to get my clue, because we are flooding out super hard. Thraben Inspector will also be able to start blocking if anything else goes into the graveyard. Wow, opponent hates fun. Alright, well this is going downhill pretty quick. Yep, goodbye, Flicker Wisp. And I guess we'll check to see if you have more removal. They know about the Ghost Quarter. I'm also probably going to basic check them here. I believe Jund runs a swamp and a mountain, or a swamp and a forest. So they could potentially just have one more swamp and that'd be the end of their basics. Joke's on you, opponent. I had a land. Opponent had Thoughtseize. Didn't even think it was worth using. Wow, an Assassin's Trophy. Alright, again, basic checking. Kind of just want to see what they've got going on. There's the swamp. We can go get a plains. Wow. Alright, so we have 1723 lands. There's no point in playing this out. If they're discarding Thoughtseize, it means the last card in hand is action. Liliana can make a sack or last creature. Alright, so Elspeth Sun's Champion is the secret tech for Jund. So what Elspeth does, updating record, I'm getting better at it. +1, create 3/1/1 soldiers. -3, destroy every creature in Jund. And -7, win the game. Rest in Peace also makes it so that Goyf shrinks, although I typically don't like doing that. The Elspeths are definitely coming in. Leyline for discard and Rest in Peace for Goyf and Skoos, although they're probably taking their Skoos out. We have plenty of creatures to fuel them. I'm not sure what they're going to do there. I really don't like getting discarded. We are technically a combo deck. I can see an argument for maybe 2 of these. They're in here for burn, though. Burn not being able to target us basically makes us win the game. I don't like grip. Let's see what we actually want to cut here. So, Displacer dice to bolt, but is a combo piece. Resto Angel dodges everything but trophy. Sundial, I'm expecting some number of K commands. It feels super bad to cut this because this is the card that made me want to play this deck, but it's just not going to do anything productive when almost they have Dreadbore, they're Planeswalkers, Goyf, Raging Ravine. A lot of what they're doing is on their turn, so this doesn't even benefit us a ton. Flicker Wisp. A lot of this just feels bad against Jund because our 1-for-1s are definitely going to be, we're going to be on the losing side of. They're going to be able to hit our more important pieces. Is there anything else? Thalia is pretty decent. Nothing can really battle Goyf. The Displacer is going to at least be able to tap it down. Mangar is great, assuming it survives, which it never did. This seems about as ideal as it's going to get. Alright, 3 vials and 1 creature. That's a mulligan. No white mana. I'm so inclined to keep this. This is a turn 2 Displacer. If we scry a land to the top, that means Thraben Inspector gets to come down, but we have a double white. We have to go to 5, and I don't want to go any lower than this. We're going to get Thoughtseized anyway. Flicker Wisp is going away. Inquisition actually hits Flicker Wisp as well. Yep, and Overgrown Tomb means discard. Jund doesn't play any mana dorks. Oh, deck. Deck. Well, that's a somewhat live draw. And again, saving the clue for in case they have discard. Because they'll laugh when they see our ley line. They're not even escalating their brutalities. The problem is their card quality is just so much higher than ours. Funny enough, if we actually do get up to Elspeth and they're lacking the Assassin's Trophy, we are fairly locked in at that point to win. I'm assuming they have Bolt or Push Up, so I'm actually going to Leyline here. This will protect our Displacer from another discard spell and allow us to actually put out our Displacer. If we draw an Eldrazi Temple, that means we can Displacer and activate it. Although I can't imagine it survives. Bloodbraid. Into Bolt. Bolt can't go anywhere. Opponent's smart enough not to cast it. Casting it actually would have put it in the graveyard and their Goyf would have survived. I'm not actually sure if that was the correct call or not. Alright, well, I'm running out both my creatures and hoping that they will keep me alive until I can top deck another land and an Elspeth. So as the board's standing, Thalia is blocking Bloodbraid, Goyf is getting N, and then I can start tapping down the Goyf. Makes a correct call. And another Goyf. Alright, well... do I have to block here? So currently on the table for 4, I'll go to 7, then the 2 Goyfs are lethal. Yep, the Goyf and the Bloodbraid are lethal, so Thalia has to jump block. And yeah, that was our deck absolutely hating us there. So, Jund, not a good matchup. Learned that one today. We obviously didn't get ideal hands, but getting 1 for 1 in White Weenie is pretty rough. Mid-range typically goes over aggro decks. And we're kind of one of those weird combo aggro decks that like we can aggro out or we can potentially just combo if you let us survive long enough and can't interact. Super grindy combo though. Hey, we finally have a Sundial, and we have a Displacer in Mingara. Okay. I'm liking the way this one's looking. And we're playing against Eldrazi and or Narset Cannon? Or Ad Nauseam. Alright, so Ad Nauseam's going to try to draw their entire deck while being at negative life, thanks to Angel's Grace and or Phyrexian Unlife, and then kill us with Lightning Storm. Yep, so it's Ad Nauseam. And let's just say we hope they go for it on our turn so we can just end the turn, because we are not going to be able to beat that. Leyline's going to be our best friend in our sideboard, but for now it's basically just... Alright, so they're 2 turns away from going off. That means I can crack the Clue, or I can run out Sundial and hope to get a 2-drop. Or Sundial and... yeah, so probably cracking the Clue next turn unless we get a Thalia. Thalia will actually really help. I'd love a Thalia. Sundial will end our turn, though. Ad Nauseam is an instant. If they go for it on our turn, we can just end our turn with Ad Nauseam on the stack. In the meantime, though, going to be very slow to grind out. See, if we get a Flicker Wisp and a land, we could... I guess a Flicker Wisp in 2 turns means that we could take away a land. Thalia, Aethersworn Canonist, Leyline. See, that's why you need to know your outs, for that exact reason right there. Alright. Thraben can get in. One of the beautiful things about Thalia is she's going to make this Lotus Bloom cost 1 more. Which means they'll have to tap a land, and then they probably won't want to get rid of their Gemstone Mine. Alright, so opponent thinks they're going to win on their turn. Not great. So they have to... oh, no, they're just going to pay for Pact of Negation here. So Suspend's going to put Lotus Bloom into play, and that's going to be how they pay for the Pact of Negation. So that did buy us a turn. I also got rid of their Lotus Bloom. Okay. Ad Nauseam's been on the I Want to Play list for a little while for this stream. That's a very powerful deck. So they actually just used Angel's Grace to make it so that they wouldn't lose the game from their Pact of Negation. If they have another Angel's Grace here and a land drop, that means they're going to go for Ad Nauseam. Well, this one's still in effect, so there's Ad Nauseam. They're going to reveal cards from the top of their library until they draw Lightning Storm. So Lightning Storm deals X damage to any target, where that's 3 plus the number of charge counters. You can put a charge counter by discarding a land. So they get to draw their entire deck, and then they have 3 Simian Spirit Guides for 3 red mana for Lightning Storm. And then if that all goes awry, they have Laboratory Maniac as a backup, so that they can just put it into play and then cast the Serum Visions. But that should explain it well enough, so they're going to win. We are definitely bringing in Leyline. We're definitely bringing in Aethersworn Canonist. Stony Silence, I've seen a couple of games where they can't Lotus Bloom, and that makes it so that they lose, but that's probably metagaming too hard. I think that if we can get our grind on, we'll do alright, so this will probably be one of the few times we don't cut all of our Sundials, but I think I am going to trim one of them. Leonin Arbiter loses a lot of value because they have Temples to scry, they don't fetch. And then probably just a Resto Angel because they don't really target our creatures. I could probably make the argument for these 2 Restos for these 2 Stony Silences, but that just feels like it's overboarding. It is a common mistake. Just because you have the cards that do something doesn't mean it's correct to cut them. Then no white mana. The Leyline was tempting to keep it. This is looking a little bit better. So we can keep that. Don't need a second Thalia. And then we're really leaning on the back of this Aether Vial here. But we have all of our hate pieces, so... Yep, there's a Lotus Bloom. Okay, so this particular hand, Stony Silence would be fantastic. That's results-based, though, so don't want to take too much value on that. And opponent has nothing going on, so Thalia is coming down. And we'll see how far opponent can go. I'd love to draw a land. It'd put the highest clock on our opponent. And it's going to require our opponent to draw a land in 2 turns. Okay, they found one. Man, Gar is interesting. Unfortunately, Aethersworn Canonist doesn't do anything about the fact that these are artifacts. And that's a fine draw. So we'll see if opponent can win here. They would basically have to have Ad Nauseam into a Angel's Grace, land drop, Echoing Truth. I think that they need a little bit too much, but we'll see what they can do. And Displacer's a threat of its own. Mangara can come down at instep and potentially remove a permanent, plus this is telegraphed a little too hard for their main phase. It's also possible they have to crack this Lotus Bloom to get the other one into play because of Thalia. Now if they want to cast the other one, they have to sack this one. Ah, they had a Simian Spirit Guide. Alright. So, funny enough, this is actually stopping them from casting Pact of Negation or Angel's Grace. And I would absolutely love to draw a colorless source for Displacer. Alright, so opponents saw the writing on the wall. We could just start nuking all their permanents. I think that's about as good as we're going to get. Opponent kept a really bad hand. Again, I believe that seeing 2 Lotus Blooms is being results biased here. I did say that can potentially happen, but I think it's low enough on our charts that the Restoration Angels are just better. Opponent's also probably sideboarding in more removal now. And this has a lot of what I want to see. Unfortunately, it's a little bit slower, but we have the Leyline, we have Flicker Wisp, we have Displacer, and Sundial, which means that if our opponent doesn't go off by turn 4, we should be able to start locking out their permanents. And I love seeing you deal damage to yourself. Makes the clock so much less for us. I'm trying to check how many lands Ad Nauseam runs. So it looks like 1 island, 1 plains. So I think I want to see a Leonin Arbiter. It's probably our best draw here, just because Leonin Arbiter would mean that this Ghost Quarter's live to take them off of mana. They had no Lotus Bloom. Pentad Prism's probably one of their best draws here. I'm really tempted with that Aether Vial, but I think Sundial's the highest upside. Then if they Pentad Prism next turn, that means that we can Flicker Wisp it. Flicker Wisp is such a good card. I love you, buddy. You're ugly. You're so ugly. You're a spider with angel wings, but I love you, buddy. Yep, there's the Pentad Prism. We're going up. Resto Angel. Alright, so they have 3 mana here. And I think I have to Flicker Wisp and hope that they don't have Pact of Negation. Alright, so Flicker Wisp is going to take the Pentad Prism. It's going to get exiled. They can float mana here, but it's going to come in with 0 counters on it. So we effectively just took 3 mana away from them. Oh, that's awesome. Alright, so we basically just time walked them there and took a counter off of their Gemstone Mine and did 1 damage. Opponent also showed that they're not anywhere near ready enough to go off. I would love a land. Undo can take back Gemstone Mine. That's good to know. I want a land. It's not a land. Alright, so I'm going to get my beats in. And I think I'm on Thraben Inspector Clue. Because the land will just enable me to start taking away their permanents. Because I'll be able to Eldrazi Displacer, Flicker Wisp in the turn with the trigger on the stack, and they'll just be gone forever. Restoration Angel also represents a real clock. Oh, I should have cracked that this turn. I would have been able to make my land drop if I had it. I could have played the Aether Vial. Or put down Eldrazi Displacer and Flicker Wisp at instep. Okay, so that's fine. Phyrexian Unlife, they can go negative in life off of Ad Nauseam, and then they have to take infect damage. But I can always flicker that whenever they go negative and just be doing fantastically. F. I need to put in Displacer there. Oh, well, we have the mana now. This won't be a problem. So, Temple comes down. This activates for colorless, colorless. I can Vial. Actually, I'm just good here. I think we might win. So, gonna get the beats on. And then we finally get to show off the combo against Ad Nauseam of everything. So, then we put a creature into play. It's going to be Displacer. Displacer, we're going to Flicker Wisp. Then we're going to take their good land. And we'll see if they can piece it together. Yep, they did. So, because I didn't get to show this off yet, Flicker Wisp. Exile target, permanent, return that at the beginning of the next end step. So, again, triggered ability is next end step. When we get to the next end step, we'll get a trigger similar to this one on the upkeep that says return the permanent. And then we're going to pay one and end the turn. We'll end the turn with the ability onto the stack, and then that just disappears, and our opponent no longer has City of Brass, which means that they would have to actually like suspend Lotus Blooms, 2 of them, go off in one turn. We can exile anything on the battlefield at that point. Restoration Angel can also Flicker Wisp. We don't need to activate Displacer. That'll put more of a clock on the table. And our opponent's actually dead in 2 turns from attacking. And we're going to be able to start taking up this other 8th file to start cheating on mana. It was nice of opponent to scoop there so that we didn't have to play it out. It would have been nice to be able to show the combo once, but they clearly didn't know that we were doing that. But we are currently 2-1 with Mono White Flicker, with Sundial of the Infinite in Modern, of all things. Unfortunately, no counter spells or stifles yet. We have played against some people that actually know what they're doing. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. I figured we'd have more on the table now. I actually play tested this to make sure it was working on Magic Online, and my opponent got super frustrated and just scooped early because they couldn't figure out when they were supposed to cast things because their spells just kept disappearing. We will take the play. We have enough pieces. I'm willing to see where this goes. We have a redraw, cheat on mana, the Sundial. Arbiter, no Ghost Quarter, but we do have the path to exile, so can basically get a free exile out of it. And our opponent is Yargle. I really wanted something more fun with Yargle. Vanilla 9-3. Ooh, opponent is mulliganing hard. So what we have learned, that is Tron, Dredge, or put a card on top. I already forgot what the third one was. Tron, Dredge, or... Well, it's Tron. Alright, so Ghost Quarters would be nice here. Opponent cycling off. And opponent just scoops it up. They knew it was coming. Alright, so Stony Silence against Tron is fantastic. They can't cycle through their stars, they can't activate their maps or their Oblivion Stones. Aethersworn Canonist for that reason is actually quite bad. That's why Eidolon of Rhetoric would be better there. Leyline doesn't actually do much. Rest in Peace doesn't do anything. Rest in Peace does actually stop the trigger from Wormcoil Engine dying, but that's no reason to bring it in. Elspeth is interesting. I don't want the game to go that long, though. I'd rather lock down what they're doing, and because we're doing that, I'm probably just going to cut our curve a little bit. Mangara being able to hit any permanent is fantastic here. Leonin Arbiter for Ghost Quarters the best. There might be a reason to have Crucible of Worlds in our sideboard for this matchup. That would actually feel really good. They don't have a lot of removal. It might be right to cut a Thalia and keep a Restoration Angel because of the Mangara interaction, but actually, if we're bringing in Stonies, I actually like this a little bit more. We can keep the Restos and cut a couple of our Sundials. I don't like cutting the Sundial, but sometimes it's just the correct decision. Having multiples is bad. It does allow us to actually stack in the turn if we have a lot of mana, but we just need this to be quick and dirty, and Ghost Quarter and Displacer are probably going to be a fantastic way to get that started. Opponent kept 7 though, so not going to have the luck of Mold a 4 scoop it up, but ooh, not even a star or anything. Does not bode well for us. Oh, and it looks like they're just on the nut. Please, sir, no nutter butters. Alright, so given what we know, I'm actually on Thalia here. It'll stop Karn for a turn. So if they actually do just go Natural Tron, I can Violent Arbiter and... Okay, so they're not on Natural. That's fine. We have a ton of planes. Then it has to be Ghost Quarter. Let's put our beats in first. Then I actually want to do it on their upkeep, then that way if they tap their mana, they'll be tapped down for the turn. Because they can pay 2 here, so they can just float the 2 and go do it. They'll end up getting their forest, but at least now that's tapped this turn. And then Thalia is going to make it so that they can't star. Or they have stirrings, that's fine. But mono white doing mono white things. And they only found a sphere, that's good. They are on double plant, so we have our beats on. And as usual in this deck, Val wants to go up to 3. Temple is fantastic. Nope. Do normal damage. Displacer comes out. Then probably going to flicker the land. Actually, it might just be Displacer here. Because if we put in Displacer, that means that we're on the table for 8, 10, 11, which will put him down to 1. And then we can just flicker a land and then go in for lethal. Yeah. So, opponent's on nothing. We lock this up. Always feels good beating Tron. Especially with little white weenie. Oh, now we have 2 activations out of Displacer too. Alright, and then this is what this deck does best. So we're actually going to put in Flicker Wisp. And we're in our end step, which means it'll go until our opponent's end step. So we are going to exile Flicker Wisp now. And then we're going to exile the other power plant. And then we get to do it again. Goodbye, Tron. No lands for you. That setting... Yep, so mine now. Have fun against Arthalia. GG's opponent. Alright, so beating Tron like that always feels fantastic. So just took away 3 lands during their turn with an active Thalia. You done right by me, Flicker Wisp. You done right by me. Alright, so we've already cashed out. And we get some of the fun tech with Mangara here. We don't have any Flicker abilities, but I'll go ahead and hang on to this. It's got a Violent Athalia that's good enough for Modern in most cases. Scalding Tarn basically means we're playing against Phoenix. Might be Burn? Might be Wizards. Alright, well, seeing Grim Lavamancer Thalia is holding some value still. Thalia is probably just going to eat the activation from Grim Lavamancer here, but... Opponent's at least starting off a little slow. Hopefully we can get our engine going. Really? That feels greedy. They did it for the spectacle? You can't even make a land drop this turn. So you have a land drop next turn and a bump in the night? You know you could have just attacked, but... I'm not complaining. Hopefully Thalia survives if you're on Bump the Night. No, Grim Lavamancer's going to hit Thalia, and Bloodstain's getting a Swamp. Alright, so budget Burn. Then Bump in the Night comes down, probably a Skewer to Critics. We go down to 12, we're going to be dropping Mangara, and then we'll end up having Mangara with Flicker. Sundial. Alright, a little late for you, buddy. We would have liked you with Flicker Wisp. So, I can take away their black here. They have 4 cards in hand, an active Grim Lavamancer. It's not looking good. Hand was a little too slow for this matchup, but we'll see what opponent can do. If they send Lavamancer at Mangara again, it's the correct call, but then that means that they have to be able to hit us for 12 off of 2 mana. We don't have much life gain. Ooh, and a Swift Spear. Well, if they let her live, we're going to do some fun stuff. Nope. Oh, yeah, shooting us. Alright. 3 more damage. Taking 2 off the Swift Spear. Bump in the Knight's flashback is 6. Got another light up the stage and a land. I don't like it, but we have to take 3 here. Alright, so Mangara gets an Exile and a Triumphant Return, but I don't think that's going to be enough. So again, activated ability is just tap. Part of the cost is exiling her. So if we make her a new object, she'll actually come back. Resto can block Swift Spear pretty easily, so I'm going to take out the Lavamancer. Restoration Angel comes down, flickers Mangara. Mangara comes back. Lavamancer is just exiled. And then we have another Mangara that we can put in if we have to chump block. Overall, though, Burn opponent having 2 cards in hand, being at 4. It's not great. We're probably going to lose here, but we gave it a shot. We might be able to get a counterspell off the Sundial, though, if our opponent waits too long. Yep, there's light up the stage, getting goblin guides. Alright, so opponent's definitely getting in for 2 here. Swift Spears representing the most repeatable damage and have to chump block. Mangara gets to come back in. And Aether Vial's best at 3. Alright, so shenanigans again. So I need to get rid of black, otherwise Bump the Night is live. So let's go ahead and exile the Blood Crypt. Then we're going to flash in Flicker Wisp. Yes, resolve that. Put in Flicker Wisp. Flicker Mangara. It would have been correct to attack with Resto and then flick Resto. Oh well. You do have to miss some lines. Alright, then Sundial can come down. Mangara is not going to be activatable, and another creature's lethal. So, got to stay on defense. One more turn. Mangara is getting in work, though. Got 2 permanents, a land and a Lavamancer, and there's the bolt. Alright, burn. Luckily, we get a lot of fun stuff for burn. 4 ley lines means they can't target us with their burn spells. Core Firewalker, we're going to gain a ton of life. They won't be able to attack. This weird list, I'm not a huge fan of Canonist. It does prevent multicasting, but that just feels a little weak to start with. Mangara did get a couple activations, but as you saw, it's slow. Thalia is still fantastic. Sundial, they saw it at the very end. They do potentially have Smash to Smithereens. We did have Vial too. I'm willing to trim a couple for Smash to Smithereens. I really hate cutting this combo piece, but sometimes you have to. You like Canonist? I mean, I can bring it in, but I'm going to be cutting a lot. Displacer can eat a bolt, but can block a Goblin Guide. Flicker Wisp is part of the combo. They had some Bloodstain Mires. I don't know, this feels like it loses some value to me. I have to cut 4 things, so it's probably the other 2 Sundials. And I don't know, maybe like that. What does Canonist come in for, though? Like, if I put these side by side, you don't like Cat Jesus? I like Flicker Wisp more. Alright, I think I have to leave in 1 Sundial. We are technically a Sundial deck. Core Firewalker should just lock this up, though, so I'm good to stick with it. Alright, we have a Leyline, a Vial, Canonist. Oh, I thought I cut all the Cat Jesus. Oh well, I have everything I need to make this work. We are currently down a match, but we have already cashed out, which is good enough for me. Cashed out with the deck playing Sundial of the Infinite, so good news there. Aether Vial goes in, and so we have Flicker Wisp, but that's the only part of the engine. Oh, Goblin Guide, please give us mana. I'll love you forever. Please give us some mana. Oh, I love you, buddy. I mean, you're going to deal at least 4 damage to me, but still. Look at that. There's even Thraben Inspector. So, knowing he's going to die, I'm going to put out Cat Jesus here. Because he's blocking if he doesn't even get bolted, so... Want to give me another land, buddy? Displacer's good. No, I was supposed to put in Thraben Inspector. Ugh, click through it. Why is there an A where? Oh, Bloak. I don't know, dude. You want to be fancy? All right. I'd really like to be able to protect Displacer with Flicker Wisp next turn, so I'm actually just going to run out Inspector with intent to crack the clue. And then Canonist can come in. And no attacks. Alright, so that's either a really good read from opponent or they misclick too. Oh, and look at all that delicious, tasty mana. I'd love colorless for Displacer. Oh, well, I guess that's fine too. If they actually want a double block, I'm quite okay with that. I don't like Lavamancers being repeatable removal against my creatures. And then Flicker Wisp is going to be protecting something next turn. Meanwhile, we're getting a clock on. Alright, and opponent doesn't even want to play. They're stuck on 1 mana. Alright, so other cat Jesus. Didn't realize you made it in here somehow. I love Elspeth, but you're too slow. I guess that means Mangara, or potentially another Sundial? I think it's Mangara. We can run it back. Currently 1-1 against Burn to wrap up the league. And, howdy there, Core Firewalker. You ready to win this on your back alone? Oh, that's a terrible draw. Alright, well, Core Firewalker is probably going to lock this down, so... Show me what you got, opponent. You did get a second land this game, so probably got at least a little bit of a game here. And if you want to burn a burn spell here, I'm perfectly okay with that. Let's see if you have Fatal Push. I mean, I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, I just wish that this was in our opening hand, not our turn 2 draw. Yeah, I need to stag that next time for always yes. Do you really want to trade a Swift Spear for 1 point of damage? Yeah, I need the colorless for the Displacer. Look at that delicious Resto Angel. Alright, so is it worth putting out Thalia here? Thalia will be able to block the Eidolon. For Bump in the Night? Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Thalia because it's going to really prevent the amount of damage that they can put out long term, but taking them off black for Bump in the Night's not really going to cover much. And Restoration Angel is going to be on a significantly faster clock than anything that they have. I'm a little tempted just to run out this ley line. But for now, I think Clue's fine. I think we're technically winning this race. If they cast anything, they're going to take 2 damage. We'll take probably 3, but gain 1, so we're 2-2. We have Resto Angel and infinite blocks. And they just shut off the ability to do anything to Thalia. Alright, so I'm okay to actually take them off of one of their lands here because in step they won't be able to cast a creature and Thalia is preventing them from doing anything else. I can crack my clue, play. Yeah, the suspended Riftbolt is going towards Thalia. I already know that, so I'm going to keep Resto up for it. So I'm going to maximize my mana here with Ghost Quarter and the clue. And they have Bloodstained Mires. Like, I'm pretty sure that they can just go get a swamp if they want one, but there's no reason to get one. Oh my gosh, ley lines. Like, seriously? I was playing the deck before and I drew like 8 lands out of 14 cards. It was absolutely horrible. If this goes towards my face, I will buy you something. Yeah, it's going towards Thalia. So you get a lot of prowess triggers. You take 2 damage. And then Restoration Angel's going to put in a blocker so that none of them can attack. And save Thalia. And then Leyline's fine. I can Leyline whenever I feel like it at that point. But I'm gaining life faster than they can put stuff out. They're taking damage from their own Eidolon. Like, this is looking fairly locked up. Yep, there it is. Alright, and the 4-1 with Mono White Flicker. So this deck is so much fun. Bradwan, I don't think you saw the Tron game, but that was absolutely delicious. So let's return to details. Is this guy. View replay. I don't think it's going to take that long to get there. Oh, that was the short one. Well, I put in Flicker Wisp off the vial, and then I activated Displacer twice and took away 3 of their 4 lands, and then just swung out for lethal the next turn. It was fantastic. I didn't even switch it over. I tried to go replay the old match. But Mono White Flicker. So this deck is essentially the base of Death and Taxes. Yeah, I moved it back over. So, Aether Vials, Thalia, Restoration Angel, Displacer. Unfortunately, these are all expensive cards. If you're looking for budget, this isn't it. Going 4-1 is still pretty good for this deck, though. Like, the one game that we lost was against... we wrecked ad nauseum. But the one game that we lost against was... I can never remember my decks I play against. It was against Jund, which makes a ton of sense. So Jund is 1-for-1ing us. We have cards we care about a lot. A lot of the cards we care about we're flickering to get advantage, like Mangara. Mangara is just absolutely nuts when you can actually take advantage of the fact that her activated ability is just tapping. And then you can flicker her and get multiple activations. So let's switch it on over now that I've got this pulled up. Mangara, tap. Flicker and Flicker Wisp. Flicker her. You just got rid of a permanent for free, and then you still have targeted removal up. Again, I didn't know this card was modern legal. I've seen it in Legacy. It's gone up to 2. I think I've even seen some fringe lists with Collected Company that she's a 3 of, and she's just a threat. Modern's a little too quick, and you don't really have the way to protect her with Karakas. Her and Karakas is the reason that she's really big in Legacy, but you have Restoration Angel, you have Flicker Wisp, you have Eldrazi Displacer. All these cards that we're running on our top end are just fantastic with her. Well, we still actually get to run the baseline of Thalia, Leonin Arbiter, Ghost Quarter, Path to Exile, Aether Vial, and play that mono white weenie strategy that's actually successful, but we get to play it with a little bit more fun. The only time we were able to get the Sundial lock up was against ad nauseum, and our opponent actually saw the line coming, so he couldn't actually we couldn't show it, but when you have it, you can just remove permanents off their field, and you can go down and make it so that they have no permanents in play. And it's a beating. Like when you know you're losing a permanent every turn, it's basically a Teferi emblem. Yes, it's like 3 cards to piece together, but they're all synergistic. A lot of them are very good standalone cards. A lot of them are synergistic with the rest of the deck. As you saw against Burn, like they suspended Rift Bolt so that they could just cast a spell. They targeted Thalia and were like, Resto. Resto's fantastic. As far as outs here, the Sundial is cute. I like the card. It works well. It really is fun to say, hey, I just exiled your entire board with Sundial of the Infinite and a Flicker Wisp. But it's just a little bit too cute. Like stock Death and Taxes list. I know Pleasant Kenobi is actually pretty good at making those. This deck even transitions to Legacy. Just a lot of stuff to be done with Death and Taxes. Sideboard. I did mention that there's a time when I wanted Eidolon of Rhetoric over Canonist. I believe that was against Ad Nauseam. That's a little fringe. Canonist comes in quicker off the Aether Vial. Easier to surprise your opponent when they're just like opt. When we were playing against the Kiln Fiend Titty deck, they cast an opt. They thought they were going to flip thing in the ice, and you flash an Aethersworn Canonist with that on the stack, and they're like, crap, I can't do anything this turn. Some very powerful cards, though. Elspeth is great, might be a little expensive for the sideboard. She would have done great against Jund, but they just put on too much pressure. I like this deck, though, and I know Bradwan has been a little active in chat, and he plays Death and Taxes and Paper. Like, it's a fantastic deck. It's a little underpowered at the current moment in Modern. White is one of the least threatening colors. They're not going to threaten with killing you on turn 3 if you tap out, turn 4 if you have a little bit of interaction, but they're still great. And I think that's all that really needs to be said. We went 4-1 and we had some fun. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone.